You've tuned in to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes and Dr. Tara Lynn Sell. Your access to success strategies and more to help you move onward and upward with your life. Listen in each week as they interview others who have really taken their essence to the next level and truly unpaused their life. Now here are your hosts, Dr. Callie Estes and Dr. Tara Lynn Sell.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. This is Dr. Callie Estes, and I am founder of the Addictions Academy, the Addictions Coach, and Rehab Rescue. Welcome to Unpause Your Life. This is a great podcast where we showcase people who have done something extraordinary with their life. I welcome you, and I hope you enjoy all of our guests.
On my way, found a reason to wake up another day.
You are listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes of the Addictions Coach and the Addictions Academy, and my lovely Squatting in the Shower co-host.
This is Dr. Tara Lynn from drtaralynn.com. You're never going to let me live that down.
It's always a blast on this show, man. Always something funny. Even better, my guest today, you know him, is that sober guy, Shane Raymer. And I'm excited to have him on. I've been on his podcast, had a blast. So let's talk about Shane today. Shane Raymer is the creator and host of thatsoberguy.com and Sober Guy Radio. He's also created, produced, and hosts a corporate podcast for a California Fortune 500 company. In September 2013, after a long battle with addiction, Shane checked himself into a 30-day rehab facility and has remained clean and sober ever since. Congratulations. Welcome to our show.
It's awesome to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on and chat with you today. And I'm really excited to dig into squats and deadlifts in the shower. I'm ready to go.
Deadlifts in the shower. How does one do deadlifts in the shower? So you both just work out in the shower. This is lovely.
Making the best use of time, you know.
Efficiency is key.
It really is an opportunity, and I thank you guys for having me on today. I'm always looking forward to chat and talk about recovery, so thank you.
Awesome. Well, let's get right into it. Give us your story and how you got into this and why you started That Sober Guy. What interest you had in radio? Were you in radio before, or is this something new? Kind of give us a little bit about you.
Yeah, no, sure. I was born in Vallejo, California. Pretty much grew up in Solano County. I'm in Vacaville now, which is in Northern California. It's East Bay area, right in between Sacramento and San Francisco. My parents had me at a very young age. They were kids themselves. And back in the 80s, there was a lot of alcohol and cocaine and all kinds of good stuff going around. And I think somewhere along the line, my father kind of got mixed up in a lot of that. So I had a pretty unpredictable upbringing. A lot of love, no doubt there that both my parents loved myself and my sister very much, but a lot of unpredictable nights. Cops showing up at the door often, and I was pretty crazy at times. And, you know, there were the occasional vacations and camping trips, and we had some good times too. So I tried to focus on the positive today and understand that where I came from and my past has really made me who I am today. And that helped get me out of the victim mentality, I think. And I really didn't start to learn that about myself until I got sober. My sobriety date is September 11th, 2013. I went into treatment at Azure Acres in Sebastopol, California. And that was really the big turning point for me in my life. And the way that, you know, I've had so many blessings. I have a beautiful wife. We've known each other since the 6th grade. We're going on 10 years, married this month, actually, in just a couple of weeks. And I have 2 kids, Cash and Lucy. And so a lot to be grateful for, a lot to be thankful for. And it really does start with me waking up every day, just being grateful for, number one, waking up, and then number 2, for my sobriety and for my family.
Awesome.
What is That Sober Guy?
It literally started, and actually you did ask kind of how I got into it too. I'm a musician, so I had this big aspiration growing up that I was going to be in the music business. And so I did a lot of shows and recorded a lot of music. I had, you know, play guitar, sing, write, all that good stuff. And along with that came drugs and alcohol, kind of trying to live that lifestyle that I thought was just the way you're supposed to do it. And so when I got sober, it changed a lot of things for me. And it also made it hard for me to write music anymore. Just a lot had changed. And I really associated it with getting high. And about 6 months out of treatment, I was really looking for something that I could still do with media. And I love talking. I still love writing. And I literally sat up in bed one night. I said, to my wife, I said, I'm going to start a podcast. And she kind of looked at me like I was crazy because I just started listening to podcasts at the time. I didn't know, kind of what the ins and outs are of it. And this was in April of 2014, I think. And so that's kind of how the idea was birthed. And basically I was just going to talk about my own recovery, my own experience, what I was going through, and share my story with the hopes that, number one, it would help keep me sober and it would be something that I enjoy to do. And cool, if it helps some other people out there, even better. So that's kind of where it started. And it's really just kind of taken on a life of its own from there.
That's pretty cool. So what made you want to get into counseling? Because I see now you're going to start doing that, because that's the complete opposite of music.
I get the opportunity to talk to so many different people in recovery. And, we're just starting to do some live shows with the live podcast. We have a live show actually coming up September 7th at the Phoenix Theater in Petaluma up in Northern California. And, the opportunities to meet different people and talk to different people we've done a lot of conferences and just the podcast. And I'm constantly talking about recovery and I'm constantly involved with it. And I figured that, it's always been a passion of mine to help people and serve and just really learn too. I mean, there's so much to learn about people and about the history of substances and, where we're at today with it from economic standpoints, political standpoints, personal use to all the different components that make it up. And I thought it'd be a great way just to continue my education and learn some more things and kind of further, and plus, to be real honest, I never applied myself in school. I really feel like I've been through a lot of changes and a lot of new things and new adventures in my life. And one of the things that was never appealing to me growing up was school. I'm a smart dude. And I said that very humbly, but I never applied myself. And so now I have this opportunity to do something that I'm really, really passionate about. And I didn't push for it. It kind of just happened. I'm kind of going with the flow. It's kind of one of my main mentalities, just roll with it. Things are a lot easier, when I'm going with the flow versus going against it. And I just decided to jump in and go for it. So that's kind of how that came about. And it's going to be a good opportunity and some more ways for me to continue learning more.
Are you going to be an addictions counselor? Are you going to be a mental health counselor? What's your aim?
Kind of funny. So right now, this program is for Addiction Counselor 1 in the state of California. And so I'm just kind of keeping my eyes set on that. I have some bigger thoughts, I guess, but I want to stay focused on in the now and just do that first. But I tend to have these grandiose ideas, and my wife has to drag my ass back down sometimes. And not that she discourages me from, these visions and dreams and stuff, because I think those are phenomenal for not only myself, but to anybody out there listening. Like, have dreams, like have big ideas, have big visions, but remember to stay in the moment and stay where you're at and take those little steps to get there. I think that's the most important thing. And actually, we had some time. My mom had the kids last night. After my wife and I are simultaneously in a men's and women's step study through CR through our church right now. And so we both go, the kids go to my mom's, and then I do my step study and Jess does hers. And so we had some time afterwards, and we went to the gym and sat in the spa, and we were kind of talking about some of the stuff. And she asked me the same question, actually. She goes, what are you going to do? Like, what's kind of your goal or whatever? It was very like, I didn't give it any thought at all. It just kind of came out of my mouth. I said, well, maybe I'll be a doctor one day. Dr. Raymer, that sounds great. And so I kind of laughed about it. And it's like, well, shit, like I kind of sit back and go, well, who knows? Maybe I will one day. So I like to think big, but I like to stay in the moment and just do the next right thing. And that really seems to help keep me grounded.
Okay.
I was going to say, hey, Shane, Dr. Raymer. What would really help you, right, in your practice is learning about brain health in addiction recovery.
Absolutely. See, we'll have to set up another call so you can school me on that.
Oh, God, no. Please. Every podcast.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the brain.
Let's talk about brain health.
Well, how many different components are there to the brain? I mean, there's probably so many different components that are not even tapped yet, right?
Well, there are, but when you think about it, there's a lot of simple things that we can do to improve brain health and neurotransmitter repair that we are not doing as a recovery community. So I'm on a mission,
Yeah, no, totally. So, and just to kind of ask you, are we talking more just diving into that science from more of a science perspective? Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Sort of. It's more of doing than just learning. We talk a lot about neurotransmitters in recovery centers and things, but that's about as far as it goes. We can talk about it, but it's like, what now? What do we do about it? So learning, Dr. Raymer, what to do about it will change the world.
Oh my gosh, that just sounds so great, doesn't it? I love it. I can't wait to tell my wife. She's going to crack up.
I have big plans for you, Dr. Raymer.
While the two of you doctors are talking, I'm going to be in the shower doing squats.
Okay.
My ass will not fit. Our shower right now, we're redoing the bathroom in here, and we have one of those little box showers. So I mean, I can barely stand in my shower, let alone do squats or anything like that. But maybe at the gym, I'll have to try that. I'll get back to you, and I'll report back. Okay.
I'm sure you might get kicked out of the gym if you start doing stuff like that in the shower.
I was actually waiting for you to say, please do not report back. So actually, I'll just kind of leave it at that. You know, it's a lot right now, too. You know, I think maybe it's important for me to touch on that. I talked about this a bit in group last night. I used to have a lot of negative stuff on my plate, and I'm not saying that there's not challenges today and stuff that I go through. There absolutely is. The difference between yesterday or the past and today is that I have healthy tools to deal with stuff. And now it's like there's all these good things that are happening, but I'm tending to get some anxiety and to feel a bit overwhelmed at times with some of the stuff going on. And that goes back for me from a recovery perspective as a man in recovery. That's when I fall back on all the things that I've learned, you know, sponsorship, having a sponsor, having community around me, having faith, trusting that things are going to work out just the way they're supposed to, whether they're not the way that I expect them to work out. You know, and so those are some of the things in using those tools that I've practiced and continue to practice that help me get through some of the stuff that feels a bit overwhelming at times. Because let's be honest, I mean, life is crazy. We all have professional lives. We have personal lives. We have things that we want to do, that we could do, that we should do, and then all of the above. And it can get crazy at times. But just waking up and like recognizing like, hey, damn, I can see today. I have vision. As kind of crazy or weird as that sounds, like just recognizing those little things could help put a lot of things in perspective for me and kind of help me to go about my day from attitude of being appreciative and having gratitude versus getting lost in like, damn, I got so much shit to do today. Like, how am I going to do all this stuff? Well, sometimes, I do ask myself that question, but it'll all get done. And if it doesn't at the time, then it is what it is. And I just got to roll with it.
So let me ask you about this 90 Day of Sobriety podcast video course. What is this?
Yes, I had some thoughts about creating some content for folks who could help them in early recovery. When I got out of treatment, when I got out of rehab, like the first 30 days, the first 90 days, even really the first 6 months were really, really confusing for me. I told this story on the podcast a few times, but I mean, I'm a NorCal dude, so I'm board shorts, flip-flops, you know, I love punk rock, tattoos. That's just kind of been me. And like, at the same time, I love old country. I love Johnny Cash. I love Merle Haggard. I love all that old stuff too. But I got out of rehab and I've never wore a pair of Wranglers or hunted or anything in my life. And when I got home, I was so confused about who the man I was. I didn't know who I was. I was like, who is this new dude? Like, I'm not using drugs anymore. Like, I'm supposed to be this man. So I decided I'm going to put my head down and be this working man. And I went and like bought like 2 pairs of Wranglers and like this hunting vest and like these cowboy boots. And my wife was like,
are you from Wisconsin? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, it was totally out of character for me. Right. And so I just had absolutely no clue what really to do. And so when I went back, you know, and looked at all of our episodes we've done, we have over 200 episodes now. We just launched a new show on Tuesdays with my homie Seth. He's hosting that. So we have shows Tuesdays and Fridays. But I went back and I looked at all the episodes, and the number one downloaded episode, and we've had some phenomenal guests, Callie, yourself included. And out of every guest, though, the one episode that had the most downloads was how to navigate the first 30 days of sobriety. And it was an episode that Seth and I did. And so I kind of had this like almost light bulb moment, like, man, I know that was a huge struggle for me. And so it sounds to me like there's a lot of other people who are struggling with that too. And so that's kind of how I came up with the concept for it. And what it is I've invited friends in the recovery community, Dr. Ken Starr. We have some folks who do podcasts and some friends of mine who have different ideas and different ways that they've navigated their own recovery through different programs, through different, everybody's different. And some things that work for some people don't work for others and vice versa. So I really wanted to create content around that in helping people understand, like, here's some of the other things that people have done in their first 90 days. And this is what's worked for them and what hasn't. And then in addition to that, really focusing on the foundational things like sponsorship, like getting into community, finding some sort of group to be a part of, finding something that you're passionate about. What do you like to do? What can replace, getting high with something that can naturally make you high? Like, is it art? Is it skateboarding? Is it playing softball? Is it exercise? Whatever the heck it is, like, what are you passionate about? And so that's kind of what the course is designed to do. We're about 3/4 of the way finished. I have a launch date set for September 1st on it. And, it's the first one I've done. So I'm just kind of, like I said, going with the flow, and I'm excited to share the content with those out there who are interested in it. And we'll see what happens.
Wondering, Shane, are you addressing any brain health in that program?
No, would you like to address some of it?
I would love to.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Because you know what? I still have a couple modules left to finish on it. And I would love to get into some of the science behind that and some of the action items, like you had mentioned, of what we can take away from that. So absolutely, we can connect after this and we'll set something up.
Awesome. That fulfills my mission.
Perfect.
Yay. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Wonderful.
Right on.
Yeah, right on. All right. So aside from your recovery, what is the most badass thing you've ever done? Even something nobody else might know about.
Let's see. Not literally bad shit that I did like when I was high and stuff, right?
Not batshit crazy, badass.
I don't know. I'm pretty mellow these days. Like I said, I got the kids and I'm pretty kicked back and chill, but I really love backpacking. I don't know if that's considered badass, but we're actually leaving on Friday to take a backpacking trip up in the Tahoe National Forest. And I love getting out in the middle of nowhere where there's bears and mountain lions and snakes. And I mean, you don't see a lot of that stuff, obviously. I'm kind of exaggerating, but there is potential to see it. And I have seen a bear before, just for the record. It was up in the Marble Mountains back in my teens when my grandpa used to take us as kids. But I do love getting out in the country and disconnecting, turning everything off, getting out in some nature, jumping in a cold ass lake, hiking down some gnarly mountains, and just being out in the open and just connecting with my spirit, with, challenging myself from a physical perspective too, trying to make sure that I stay in somewhat decent physical shape so I can do stuff like this. And I think there's 7 of us. We have this guy's annual trip that we do every year around the weekend of my birthday, which is coming up this weekend. And so, we'll head out there and we'll pretty much, I'm just going to be brutally honest. It's a lot of farting and shit talking pretty much. That's pretty much what it is like the whole time. So it's a man's trip and, we have a good time with it. I enjoy it. And
just to jazz up your badass trip, our title of the podcast is going to be something like Shane Raymer Bear Wrangler. All right. That's what we're going to do.
Oh my goodness. That'll be great. Hopefully I don't see any bears. I do not want to. Those things, they don't like humans, but they are big. And you come in contact with one personally. Oh man, it's not a fun thing.
So tell me, what is the draw to this? A bunch of guys hanging out with each other in the middle of the wilderness, talking farting. Shit and farting.
Your guess is as good as mine. My wife asked me the same thing. She goes, I just don't get it. Like, you pack up a bunch of shit and you take it out to the middle of nowhere and you set it all up again. And I don't know, there's something about getting out there. Number one, for me, it helps me to disconnect. Number two, I don't know, maybe it just makes me feel manly or something. And then I come back to reality, and I'm like hugging my kids and crying with them. And, which let me point out, I think that is an important part of today's society. Like, we can be men. Like, I can be manly. I can be, go out to the country and do those. I'm putting manly in quotes or however, somebody looks at that. At the same time, it's so important for us to be able to have conversations, be open with each other, talk about our feelings, like how we're feeling. Like, I'm sitting in a step study group last night with some dudes who I'm getting to know well, and we're building these relationships. Some of these guys have been in prison, incarcerated for half their lives. Some of them have been through some things as kids that are just, they hurt your heart to hear some of them. And so to be in a group of grown men who can understand, like, damn, I've had this calloused experience where my heart is like stone. And now I'm learning about myself to where I can open up. That's really what makes me passionate about even going back to wanting to become an addiction counselor and to do the work that I do and to do the podcast and even to go back out and sit in nature and fart and tell jokes all day. You know what I mean? Like, I want to encompass all that stuff together. And my real goal is to next summer plan a backpacking trip for the CR group. So I'd love to get the guys together that are in recovery and do like a recovery style trip. I know there's a lot of outfits that do that out there, and I've been thinking about that for a while. So just another crazy ass idea that I'm going to shoot to my wife, and she's going to go, how the hell are you going to do all this stuff? But I don't know. We'll see.
You're going to do it with brain support. And you're going to
Yes, you are.
That's right. I can't wait to learn about that. That's going to be fun.
I've just retitled this episode again. It's Shane Raymer, Secret Farter Bear Wrangler.
That is going to get some clicks. That's for sure. If we're talking about headline porn, that's perfect right there. I love it.
Awesome. Super fun, Shane.
Awesome stuff. Thanks for having me on.
Sure. Give us your plugs for your podcast and your class and all the stuff you got going on.
Yes, you can pretty much find everything at www.thatsoberguy.com. You can go up there and you can sign up for emails. I usually send an email out with the show. And then if there's any updates, like we're going to start doing some live shows, like I mentioned, in September 7th in Petaluma. At the Phoenix Theater. We have TJ Woodward, who's a good homie of the show. He is an awesome, awesome dude from Conscious Recovery. So he'll be out there. He's from San Francisco. He'll be out as a guest at the live show. And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, at Real That Sober Guy on Instagram. And Twitter, I think, is at Shane Raymer. But I don't do Facebook anymore. I deleted that shit. I'm probably never going to jump back on it again. But yeah, all the info is on thatsoberguy.com. And thank you so much again for having me on. And I think it's awesome what you guys are doing, what you ladies are doing. I say that sometimes. I say, you guys, but I was, you ladies.
How about you doctors?
That's right again. You doctors are doing some phenomenal stuff over there, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Raymer.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's so cool.
Well, thank you for coming on. You've been listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes and Dr. Terilyn Sell, who has a answer for every brain issue, including farting.
Yeah, probably.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day. Hey, everyone. Thanks again for listening. I really hope you enjoyed the show today. Head on over to iTunes and Apple Podcasts and leave a comment or review of what you think. Or contact us at 1-800-706-0318. If you want to be on our show, feel free to email or call. And if you have a topic, feel free to email or call as well.
Thanks for listening to Unpause Your Life. For show notes and more, head on over to unpauseyourlife.com.
Big shout out to recoveryinnovators.com for help producing this show. Thank you, guys.
I took a walk down the long road where they said that I shouldn't go. On my way found a reason to wake up another day. But they needed to show you all the things that you won't do. Find faith or religion, but nothing to show for it. No need to escape in love with my pain. I may be weak, but I'm alive, still alive, and I won't be bound by your mistake. No, I won't be your enemy, trapped at the gate. Bring me to life, put me to death. Just give me something that's just not so hard to believe. To believe. To believe. I took a walk down the dark road where they said that I shouldn't go. I knew the dangers of flying. Now I'm so far from solid ground. But they needed to show you all the things that you won't do. Find faith or religion, but nothing to show for it. give